Okay, I think I've just switched my screen and everything on. I'm working with a little bit of a delay, so I'm going to ask that you let me know if you can hear me, but it's going to take me just a few seconds to see your live responses. I'm so excited. We can do some Finish It February crafts together. How is everyone? Oh, I see you all. Hello. Oh my gosh, we're from all over the place. Hopefully it's not too late in the night. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for telling me that everything's good. This is the first time I'm using this particular streaming setup, and it took me a bit to get it going, so I'm glad. Let me know if I need to change anything so you can hear me better, or if I'm too loud, let me know. Oh, perfect. Oh, Roxana's here, which is so exciting because it is her thing to do Finish It February, and that is the inspiration that I have for doing this live stream today, and hopefully to get some motivation from you all. There is a box following my face. Oh, you know what that is? Oh, that's really funny. I don't know if I can get that to turn off this time. It's from the camera. You're gonna have to see my very close-up face if I'm gonna fix it though for a second, if you don't mind. Or is it very, very distracting? Can I leave it on for a little bit? This is the other thing is the camera I finally got working with this whole setup, I realized that I don't have what's called a direct power battery. So I'm running off of the internal battery of the camera, and I don't know how long that's gonna last. And I don't think I'm gonna get a warning when it's about to die. So I might randomly cut off for a bit, and I'll have to quickly switch out the battery. But I decided very last minute to do this stream, so just for fun. Yeah, okay, so you're gonna see my very close-up face for a second to see if I can fix this. And oh, that's gonna be tough for me to read. Okay, I'm gonna go back to the starting soon screen so I can better fix my camera, and I'm gonna be like right back and see if I can turn this off. 1 second. Okay, I couldn't figure out very quickly how to get the box off of my face, and I think I also have turned off autofocus, so that's really fun. I'm so sorry. I'm still working on getting this setup working. Oh, you can tell I'm turning red. I'm a little embarrassed, but I'm sorry about that. But hopefully for this stream, it's okay. And maybe if we're all crafting together, we're not looking up too much at a box following my face. And next time, because I'm hoping that we'll do this a few more times, I can get that figured out before I go live. I'm so sorry. I did not notice that at all when I was setting up. Anyway, it's super exciting to see what everyone is working on. Oh, we have people from all over. Someone's working on getting their child to sleep, so that's really fun. Ripped out hem and reworking it, that's a good thing to go back and fix up something. working on the second sleeve, reknitting both for Finish It February. That's great to work on. Texas. Oh, I'm glad you like my starting screen. I had a fun time putting that together, although I probably should have worked a little bit more on my camera settings. Oh, that's really cool that you're working on puppets. I've never heard of a theater show, but that's a great name for it. Don't let the pigeon drive the bus. V-neck cardigan. Yeah, when you work on a sweater or like a larger piece that has patterns or lace or something texture all over, it can be quite a bit of work. Oh, thank you, Roxanne. I'm glad. I think you would very much understand the tech issues during a live stream. I was hoping to have most of them ironed out, but I had put myself in the position of understanding that I would probably have some things to iron out beforehand. We're weaving in ends. Oh, that's so cute. A little amigurumi. Nice. Wow, a 3-year UFO. I have some of those too, so. Oh, good luck, Annie, on your first sweater vest. Oh, it's really fun to see. I know I'm out of focus. I'm so sorry. I turned off a focus setting and, I think I think I'm in focus right here because that's when I turned off the focus setting. So, oh, that's fun. I might reset it in a little bit, but we're just gonna chat first and then I'll reset it when I get there. This is great. You'll get a really nice close up. Oh, we're all the way over in New Zealand. What else do we have going? A lot of people are working on sweaters or pullovers, finishing their first. A petite knit sweater. I'll also be doing, I'm going to be working on a petite knit pattern, a round shawl. Oh, from Weldon's. That's fun. Oh, we have so many coming in. I love that. A blanket will be finished by next winter. Oh, blankets take so long, unless you're on a loom, but even then it really takes a long time when you're crocheting or knitting one. The Minerva cardigan. Oh, that's really cute. You have a rainy day. Oh, you're working on a bond knitting machine, Tiara? I like that. Oh, this is really fun to see everything. Although I should probably put on my glasses. It's taking me a second to read everything because I don't have my readers on. Oh, that's a big move to go from the US to Japan. Oh, that's really fun. Oh my gosh. So what am I working on? Sorry, I love looking at everyone else's projects. So I got a little lost in all of that. So I can pull up what I have. And this was one of the ones that I discussed in January when I was looking at all of my personal UFOs. And this is, let me see, it is the Terrazzo Slipover by Petite Knit. And I had finished the entire body. It's a very interesting construction. I don't know if anyone has, so I just read someone's comment that was really funny from Noelia that said, I don't mind the box on your face, but if another one appears above your shoulder, that's going to be a problem. Yeah, I think I would be very freaked out if that happened. You guys are funny. But it's a really interesting construction. I worked on this years ago, so I don't remember all of the details, but it's like you work the front and back. So some bits of it worked flat, some bits in the round. So it was interesting to get to this point. And I am about halfway done with the turtleneck collar, and then I still have to do the sleeves. So what I'm going to be working on today is the rest of the turtleneck collar. For yarns, in case anyone wants to know, this is a choice from way back. It makes it's a heavier yarn. I got the same gauge, but it's a heavier yarn than it was originally suggested, which is a City Tweed Aran weight from Knit Picks and a Loft lace weight in these colors. I don't know if I'm showing them to you properly. But I don't think I talked about what is Finish It February. I'm going to guess that most of you here know what it is. It is hosted by Roxanne Richardson, who I've seen in the chat, which is really fun that she's here. And it's basically a time she has lots of videos, so I recommend you check out her channel about Finish It February. But in very brief, it's a time to take a look at your works in progress, your WIPs, and your UFOs, your unfinished objects, and decide if that's something that you want to work on and finish. Why did you put it down in the first place? And what do you have to do in order to finish it? Basically, why'd you put it in a timeout? Or if it's something that you don't want to continue doing and maybe you put the yarn back in your stash to work on something else. So it's really exciting to see that everyone here is deciding to bring out some of their older works in progress or whatever they're working on right now. I mean, you can bring anything that you want to, and we can work on it together. So for me, I honestly don't know what size these needles are either. Let's see. We've got, nope, I probably would need like one of those needle gauge tools to see what needle size this is. Although I'm probably very close to the one in the pattern. And I have to knit ribbing, 1x1 ribbing, but through the back loop in every stitch. And this is, I think, my needles are a little bit big for this project. It's stretching a bit, but it'll work. I think that'll be okay. Here we go. Also, when I planned this live stream, like I said, it was super last minute. I did not even realize that we were here on Valentine's Day. So happy Valentine's Day, everyone. It's kind of fun that we get to hang out this evening together. I'm glad that you guys decided to spend it with me. Oh, Melissa, yeah, you're going to need a year of Finish It Februarys to finish what I've got, sadly. Same. I think, especially because I'm just starting now and we're halfway through the month, I'm going to be lucky to get maybe this one done, maybe another one done that I'm mostly already finished on. So I don't know how far I'll get, and I definitely have way more UFOs than all of those. At what point does a whip become a UFO? I don't know. That is a good question. A work in progress, I guess a work in progress. I'm curious what you think. For me, a whip is something that I'm intending to pick up maybe in the next month or so and continue knitting on it. Like, it's something that I was knitting on, decided to put down for a little bit, and then I know I'm going to pick it up again soon. Versus a UFO I haven't touched in more than a month, and it kind of goes into a timeout or I'm not working on that right now pile. Also, of course, when I'm talking, I think I just knit. I did not do any purls, so I'm going to have to focus a little bit more sometimes on what I'm knitting too, or else I'm just knitting garbage. Okay, here we go. Got from I know it'll purl one through the back loop. I know it's not going to be fun, and I forgot to do it even, so. Nanette sipping on white wine tonight. Anyone else? Unfortunately, I am only allowed to drink some water right now, so I'm just staying hydrated with some water, but hopefully everyone else has some fun drinks too. Oh, convertible Nordic mittens with a custom beetle design. Quite Corvidae. That's really cool. What is a convertible Nordic mitten? Because when I think of convertible, I don't know if it means that you can turn it inside out and it is a different color pattern, or if it's one where you have like the flap over the fingers that you can take the mitten pattern off. You did a terrazzo sweater with the wrong yarn that pooled, so you're going to frog it. Yeah, I am enjoying the pattern, but I didn't finish it in time, so that's why it went into timeout for me. Some people really like the pooling effects of color, but I personally like a little bit more random color effects, so I can understand that. What else do we have? I think a UFO is the first point you forget the project existed. That's a good one. Although I will say I have a few projects that I know it exists, but it's definitely an unfinished object, like my Victorian biking ensemble, which I am now unraveling. Oh, Christine, you're using some handspun from a couple years ago to crochet a cowl. Oh, handspun is so beautiful. I'm having so much fun spinning up more and more. I think I'm a little over my head with the amount of roving I have, but I'm really excited. UFOs are the ones that you put up out of sight, Samantha. That's a good one too. Have I ever tried nail binding? I have not. It's on my to-do list of projects I guess not just projects, but crafts to learn. I have quite a few. I want to learn bobbin lace. I want to learn nail binding. I want to learn netting. I want to learn tablet weaving. I want to learn how to create like traditional Nordic weaving with an warp weighted. A lot of things I want to learn. So it's on the list. How soon will I get to the list is another question. Jess has a ginger ale and I'm playing The Sims. Oh yes, another Sims. I love playing Sims. I like quite a few video games, but Sims is a classic. I keep on coming back to. The Sims franchise is my personal stepping stone into a lot of other video games. So I started with Sim Ant, and I have been in love with The Sims ever since. We're working on a 1930s lace weight blouse that you converted to knitting in the round and sizing up. That is, I don't know what you think, but for me personally, especially converting to knitting in the round for a lace pattern, that's impressive. Did you find that was quite a bit of work to do, or was that okay? A salt lime beer and growing cardigan. That sounds like a really lovely Friday night. A self-drafted cardigan that you haven't touched in months. Yes, I'm so glad. It's so fun that everyone's picking up some things. It must be difficult though. If I keep on asking you questions and you're trying to work on projects and I'm having you type things, I'm so sorry about that. Also, I'm going to try to stay a little bit closer to the camera so I'm not too out of focus. In a second, I'm going to take another break and see if I can get the focus to come back on. Sorry about that. The flat one. Oh, we have Catherine, you're doing a 1930s top. I like all the 1930s comments that I'm seeing coming in. My mystery cardigan is also from the 30s, so I'm super excited about working on that one too. What is that stitch? How do you knit through the back loop? I've never heard of it. I think that's from Nutella. So basically, I used to do it a lot by accident when I was learning how to knit. I'm going to guess that's what you're asking, Nutella, is you're asking me about that. Instead of the legs on your needle sitting like this when you're knitting through it, imagine like the knitting needle's there and the loop is there, and then you knit through the open legs. You're knitting through the back so that when the stitch is knit, it kind of has crossed legs. So for me, technically, especially on pearls, I'm not knitting through the back loop because I purl differently than most people. I'm called a combination continental knitter because I don't wrap my yarn the same way when I knit and when I purl. I think what's common is that most people, I don't think I'm going to be able to show it very well on video, but most people always wrap over the needle, no matter if they're knitting or they're purling. But the way that my family knits, because I learned to knit from my family, is that on knit stitches, we wrap that way, and on purl stitches, we kind of wrap the other way around. It makes purling a lot faster, but I have to adjust a lot of different pattern statements because knitting through the back loop is not actually a back loop for me on purl stitches. And it was a headache to try to figure out because when I knit, I didn't knit to patterns. I knit from, like I said, my family members, all of my grandmothers, my mom, my dad, my grandfathers, everyone knit. And so I did projects based on what they told me, if that makes sense. It was like an oral tradition of knitting patterns and not reading them. So it took me a long time to learn how to read the knitting patterns and then understand what it meant for my stitches. So I could talk about that for a long time. It took me a long time to even figure out what it was called the way that I knit because I couldn't find anyone else who knit the way that I do so that I could figure out how to read patterns. Oh, Ada, you're using text to speak so that you can knit and chat at the same time. That is a good idea. That's a really good idea. And Allie, you said the pattern is mega simple with every other row just purling. I admit I currently... That is such a good plan. So if every other row is purling, then you don't have to purl when you switched it in the round. Then you're knitting everything, which is really good. And Evangeline, so much fun knitting the 30s, 40s style. I agree. There's something about it feels like there's a formula, but really fun variations on the formula. And I like knitting to that. And now that I know what I like in a sweater and how I like it to fit me, it's really nice to get that correction or like those changes for the pattern in the way that I like. And yes, Grace, Norwegian purling saved you from having to learn how to purl with a yarn in front, and it makes sure that your stitches also sit in the correct way, but you knit or purl a lot quicker once you learn that technique. I was lucky enough to see Arne and Carlos, and they taught a class on Norwegian purling, which is really fun to learn, but I've been knitting for like 28 years, and I'm sure that if I put some time into it, I could change my habits, but that habit is really hard to break for me. You had to learn flicking because you couldn't figure out how to purl continental. I wish that I could get better at flicking, because I think it'd be great to do color work with flicking, because I've seen people who hold each color one in each hand, and then they would kind of do a continental method with one and flicking with the other. But my tension is still a bit too off when I do it that way. Again, it's probably just a lot of practice, and I honestly just haven't put the time in. Quiet. You used to knit English and change to continental after seeing my... Oh, that's fun. I'm so glad. You knit 10 plus hours a day. Wow. I'm so glad that you didn't have any hand pain and that you finished. That's amazing. It is, I have that. There's a book. Oh, Knitting Comfortably. The Ergonomics of Hand Knitting. And I think, I'm sorry, I'm just looking at my bookshelf up there. And I think that was recommended in there too, because I have some repetitive use things that I'm working through, and I'm honestly probably not sitting with the best posture for knitting right now either, but I'm glad. Sometimes it's really frustrating when you want to knit something and you can't do it because you have pain or something. Beth, 30s fashion has so many gems. I want to finish my dozen whips so I can start knitting a 30s blouse. Yeah, it is really fun. Oh, we knit that one wrong. Hold on. Yep, there we go. Okay. I'm usually okay with knitting and not looking, so I could usually read, but I didn't realize at all. Oh, we're almost out of yarn too. I didn't realize at all that it was through the back loop, and I have to pay a little bit more attention when I'm doing that. Okay. How am I going to join this yarn? Hold on. Brian, when is the deadline to send you Hexie Puff? So I originally had said something like 4 to 6 weeks, just so that everyone kind of had an idea of when I was planning on starting to use them. I've had some things pop up personally. I'm editing the video right now where I allude to it a little bit, and it's put me like 2 weeks behind. We had death in the family, which has been a little hard. So that's put me about 2 weeks behind. So I would say probably at least another 2-3 weeks. I won't be super strict with it, but it just helps with making sure that I'm not missing anyone either. Like, I don't want to finish the blanket and then have more show up and that I can't include, or at least not in the video. I can still include it in the blanket, which is kind of the beauty of the Hexie Puff blanket, but you wouldn't make it in the video. So if you want to send it to me after the deadline, I'm all open for that. So I would say like another 2 to 4 weeks. You might just not see it in the video version of the blanket that I create. We're in Ottawa, Canada. That's really fun. And you live to recreate antique crochet. Yes, antique crochet is really, really fun. I enjoy working on that a lot too. Hannah knits English flicking style and can't switch to anything else. It feels so unnatural, but I also don't struggle with purling, so that's really good. And some people feel like the continental style is faster for them, but the world record holder for fastest knitter is an English style knitter. So when you first tried knitting, you couldn't get a hand of the English style because you learned from a book. I just naturally did continental. Kathy, I also find that a lot of people who started with crochet find the continental style to be a little bit more natural because I think it's a little closer to how you hold the crochet hook. So, and Roxanne, you like the inset yokes of the 30s because they have set-in sleeves. I like them more than the circular yokes. I agree. Circular yokes, because of my row tension, they're usually way too long for me. So I have trouble. Sometimes I have to modify them so that they don't have as many pattern repeats, so that they fit me a little bit better there. And then, thank you everyone for the well wishes. That's really sweet. Yeah, it was not unexpected, but sudden and really lovely too, because all family could be here, and it's not it's never easy. So I appreciate that. And again, knitting and crafting has been such a healing thing. So it's really nice. And it's another reason why I wanted to kind of do this live stream today, because crafting with other people, I think, is also a really lovely thing to do together and with other people. And then my wonderful knitting life, I made myself learn continental a couple years ago when I knit a striped sweater only holding the yarn with my left hand. It was difficult at first, but by the end you had nailed it. I feel like when you want to learn a new technique, it's hard when you have a certain way of doing something and you know how fast or how evenly you could do it in that way, and you can't yet in a new one. So I commend you for sticking through with it, through that whole thing. So you're going to be working on a shawl with cable in Weldon's 1902. Oh, that's a fun one. A shawl with a cable insertion. Is the shawl like a rectangular shawl or a triangular shawl? I feel like in 1902 they sometimes did both and called it both, but I'm not sure. And Brian, you absolutely love that I've gotten into 3D printing. You printed and built your own sock machine, cone winder, and spinning wheel. That's amazing. I have seen the plans for the spinning wheel and I really want to try that one. And of course, I want to make my own CSM too. Especially because unfortunately I broke one of the cams, I think, on my 3D printed CSM that I have. So it'd be really nice if I could print myself a replacement part for that. And thank you again, everyone, for the very kind, I appreciate that so much. Samantha, Continental is easier as an avid crocheter. I've heard that a lot because it's a little bit more similar to how you hold the tension and hook and yarn when you're crocheting. Be the baby unicorn, you're the same? Yeah, I feel like that flows a lot better. I didn't realize knitting in an unusual method of English flicking style. It's almost like a lever movement until I joined a knitting group. I just did whatever felt natural. I think that is so unique, and that's how you get so many different styles of knitting too. One of the other ones that I've always wanted to learn is Portuguese knitting. At work, at one of the places that I used to work at, we had a knitting group, and that was the first time I ever saw someone using the Portuguese style of knitting. And he had a brooch on his shirt that he passed his yarn through for the tensioning, and I thought that was so, I've never seen something like that before. And then there's I have a family friend who's from Peru, and she knits in the Peruvian style where she holds her needle like a pencil. So I think that's so cool. And I've always wanted to try to learn how to use a knitting belt, but I feel like I would then have to use an English style of knitting, so which possible, I would just be slower. Hello, Home Sewn. That's fun. Grace, you're part of a crafting group, but you've only been to one meeting. Your chronic fatigue makes it hard to get out of the house. Yeah, I feel you. I have a knitting group that I really enjoy traveling to, but where I live quite rural, and I have to go through Canyon Pass. And there's, especially in the wintertime, we have a lot of snowstorms here, and the Canyon Pass becomes impassable. And I have to go through it in order to go to the knitting meetings, and especially they start at like 5 or 6 when it's dark out. I'm just like, I don't know that I want to drive at night in the snow through a pass that I don't know will be open for me to get home. So I really enjoy these virtual kinds of meetings, and I thought it'd be fun to host one. And I just joined a weaving guild, and I think they took that into account because in the winter months, they're all Zoom meetings. They're all online because no one wants to be driving in the dark at night in the snow. It's rectangular center section, then interlocking circles, cables, but not really, and then an outer. That sounds really beautiful. Rectangular with a center section. That I love the sound of that. And Alma, you just finished working some color work. Held yarn and yeah, exactly. That's the method that I'm hoping to learn at some point. Hand strain, continental for hand strain. Yeah, I've heard that too, that continent, like I said, and I read it in that ergonomic book, that continental helps with hand strain. I feel like I probably hold my hands well, but then the rest of my posture is so terrible that it puts unnecessary strain, and I still get repetitive use injuries when I'm knitting. Let's see. Oh, Camilla, you said when you dropped the video, I was just talking to my brother about 3D printing, and now I want a CSM and all autumn. Yeah, I know, isn't it? So it's so fun to think about all the possibilities. I found someone, I hope I saved his information, who has, I feel like we have a very similar brain. So I don't know if, I'm sure some of you have worked with 3D printing, but there's some online libraries where other people have created things that you can 3D print. And this person created a different CSM version because his mom wanted a CSM. And then he started working on mechanizing a flatbed 1960s knitting machine. And I've had literal dreams, like I dream about it because I think about it so much, about how you would do that. And so I think I'm going to reach out and see if, I don't know, maybe he would be open to discussing that with me, because I think that would be so interesting. I have been to knitting machine factories in Scotland and seen how like the modern knitting machines run and work, and it's mind-blowing. And I think it'd be really cool to kind of have like a somewhat in between with, I don't know, I'm fascinated by that. I could probably talk forever about that. Yeah. Oh, Ada, there's only one knitting group in your area and it's always in the middle of your workday, so I can't go. I know, that's so hard. It was the only one that I've ever been able to attend in the middle of my workday is because it was hosted at work during our lunch break. And I was lucky enough that we had enough knitters at work that we could have a regular meeting of people. Now the ones that I go to are in the evening, so more people are able to join, which I appreciate. Although, it's the only one in like a large area. So I'm part of a spinning guild and a weaving guild and the knitting group, and people come from like the border of the next state over. I feel like there's such a need, and it's a beautiful community and coming together, and I feel like there's such a need for that sometimes. So I'm glad that there's options, but I wish that there were more sometimes for people. Home sewn, you've been told that the way you crochet is interesting, but it's the only way I've ever seen people do it. Yeah, I mean, sometimes I was the same way. I've only ever seen, when I was younger, I only ever saw all of my family knit, and it wasn't until I was trying to learn how to read patterns that I realized something about my style does not match with what is expected here. So that's funny. You recently learned that you knit in cottage style, which is English with straight needles, but one needles. Yeah. And I think that is similar to like belt or supported. I don't know. I would love to learn how to do that though. Chocolate and pasta. There was a local dessert night knitting group that used to go to before. I think that is really sad, is that after the pandemic, a lot of things fizzled out that used to be there, and knitting a dessert sounds amazing. I will say my weaving guild does desserts with their presentations and their guild meetings, and that's really fun. I enjoy that very much. I think half the people there show up because there's delicious home-baked goods. Oh, Ashley, I'm so sorry. I grew up in Florida for quite a few years, and that was actually the point where I stopped knitting as much because it felt difficult to find patterns or anything because I like to wear what I knit. I like to use what I knit. And I had a really hard time finding anything that would be even like remotely comfortable, or at least at the time that was, we have run out of battery. I'm going to change it really quick and see if I can fix the autofocus. So I'm going to put you on the starting soon screen and I will be right back. Will it still? Okay, then now we don't have a box, but I don't know if this is an improvement. I'm so sorry, everyone. This is such a last minute idea to do the stream that I really didn't have the time to. Oh, we're getting a little bit of a buffering issue. Let's see. If I can figure some things out. I don't know if you can hear me, or maybe the video is just a little slow. Let's see. Okay, I don't know if the bitrate is going to help a little bit. You might hear me better than you can see me. I hope that's not too distracting. I've got it back down to just one box on my face. If you didn't hear my introduction in the beginning, I decided to do this stream like super last minute. And so I spent all day just trying to get the basic things working. So I didn't realize that I don't have the right direct battery power for my camera. So my battery will die unexpectedly throughout this and I won't get a warning. Oh, I'm still frozen. You're telling me that you can hear me, but sometimes I freeze. I'm so sorry about that. I see that that's an issue, but I'm gonna have to, again, this won't be my last stream. I'm just gonna have to look up exactly how to fix this before the next one. No. How frustrating that I keep on going in and out. I can see myself. It's also a little tough because there's a delay that I'm viewing everything on. So I'm so sorry about the issues. Also, it's kind of funny. My freeze frames, my faces that I'm making is kind of funny. Guten Abend, Jenny, to you too. Do you guys mind if it's a little bit staticky on the face, but you can still hear me okay? And then for the next stream, I can maybe figure out my issues with the stuttering. There's an issue with the bit rate. And I'm going to be honest, I would have to do a little bit of research to figure out exactly how to fix that. I think the problem is that the internet connection. You know what it is? We get internet via satellite and it's snowing. I think that's part of the issue. And the snow collects on the satellite and then the internet drops. So I might have to take a pause in a few more minutes if it gets any worse to knock the snow off of our internet thing, which is kind of fun. But if you guys are okay with the stuttering, then video, but the audio is generally okay, then we can, okay, it's definitely washable. I'm so glad. I'm glad. And we're down to one box around the face, so that's at least something. We've got a few things to figure out. I was planning on doing a few of these streams, at least throughout Finish It February, to see if we can finish some things together and motivate each other. And yeah, definitely check out, if you weren't here when I said it, check out Roxanne Richardson and her channel. She talks about Finish It February if you haven't heard about that before. I think it's a really fun idea and we can work on that together. I am working on Petite Knits terrazzo slipover. So let's see, what are you all? Oh, Jean, you love my sweater so much. Did I happen to knit it? I did not. This is a vintage sweater. I think it's probably from sometime around the 60s. I have a lot of sweaters that are like this, which is like mohair-ish or Angora-ish with raglan sleeves. And I'm glad you like it. I love the style too. So I thrift these. Unfortunately, I did not knit it myself. Alma, you got some ancestral steel hooks and bins upon bins of vintage thread. That's so cool. Lorraine, the nice thing is you're mainly looking at your projects. That's true. So hopefully the stuttering video won't be too bad. And if I'm frozen when you look up, it's hopefully a funny face. So you can chuckle a little bit at the funny frozen moment. Oh, the face tracker is ominous. I know. And someone else said, imagine if it like pops up as a second one somewhere like over my shoulder. We've got a ghost in the stream. That would be terrifying. I would not like that at all. Knocking snow off so we can knit together as dedication. Yeah, we have to do it. I mean, I guess you don't have to if you don't mind not having internet, but I mean, we've done some shoveling and things. We're under a winter storm warning here, so we're getting some good snow. We've been very low on snow this season, so it's really nice to get some snow coverage because we depend on that to fill our reservoirs in the spring and summer. So what do we all asked? It feels like a casual video call stitch. Yeah, I'm glad. It's charming and not too off-putting that it's some technical difficulties. I'm glad you like my sweater, Miss Dale Marie. Thank you. You got a loom knitting scarf you're watching to finish. Oh, nice. And you're trying to learn how to knit with circular needles. I very much, even if I'm knitting something flat, I'll still use circular needles. I like them too. I work on finishing projects every Friday all year. Wednesday is whips, Saturday, Sunday is shawls. Oh, I like that. Also, it's nice. It's like finish it Friday, Wednesday whips, Saturday, Sunday shawls. I like the alliteration you have going. That's really fun. Krisha, you're going to finish your fingering weight colorwork sweater in February, but you need need a set of shorties to do the sleeves because the magic loop is annoying. Yeah, see, that's the thing is some people really swear by magic loop, and I'm so glad that they enjoy it, but I'm also one of those people. Magic loop is a bit frustrating to me personally, so I don't enjoy it as much, but working with some DPNs. I love working with DPNs personally, and I have a beautiful holder for it actually. Oh, even though my video is stuttering, I hope I can show you this. So I got this from a wood carver, and it has a slot here for your project to stick out of, and you put your needles in so that your project doesn't slip off your needles so easily when you put it in a bag or you put it down. I really love this so much. It's really hard to find these, so when I saw a woodworker who had one, I was like, oh, I have to pick it up. It's really cool. I don't even know what they're called. I'm not even, if you know the name of this, so maybe I can search for it, because I didn't have any knitting needles on me at the time that I found one of these, and I didn't realize that it's quite short for the DPN, so I had to buy a set of DPNs that would fit this. Most of my DPNs are a little bit longer, so I want to find another one that's a little bit longer. Sarah, maybe if Nutella makes a background appearance, it won't be as scary. That is true. She's currently upstairs. But I might go check on her in a little bit and make sure she's all good. She might join us. We'll have to see. She likes sitting by the front door and keeping guard over her domain. Greetings from Denver. Hello. Oh, a Stella quilt blanket. That's so fun. DPNs forever. Yes. You love magic loop, but small circulars never clicked. Yeah, some people are all about, what I love is when people find the techniques and like methods that work best for them. I think that is really what's great. Love, what I do want to do, I do want to create a pattern. Sorry, that pen stitch scrolled up so quickly I couldn't catch up with it quite yet. But I have this idea of kind of doing I forget what the name of it is, but it's like a make your own adventure. What is that called? Oh, sometimes the phrases escape me, but where you kind of follow a pattern to a certain point and then you can make a decision, because I have quite a few of these styles of cardigans that have just slightly different like embellishments here or sleeve lengths, and some of them have a higher turtleneck, some of them have a really cute collar, so it's like a choose your own adventure, there you go, style knitting pattern. So it could be many patterns in one. I don't know how feasible that is, but I think that would be a really fun idea. So that's my idea for recreating this one. Oh, we have someone else, Quiet Corvid, you don't like working with DPNs at all. You move around too much for them. Yeah, I mean, there are definitely pros and cons. Oh, we have DPNs versus not DPNs. That's funny. You use your pinkies to hold the needle and find DPNs and shorties. Oh, that is tough when depending on your grip. And that's what I found when I'm trying to use this one, is that because the DPNs are so short, my grip, I didn't realize like how wide it is, I guess. I don't think I have very big hands, but my grip is so wide, so I'm constantly like falling off the end of the DPNs. Oh, thank you. Yeah, Matt, for the DPN case is beautiful. Now my brain will be figuring out how to make one. I've been thinking like, can I 3D print it? But I also really like woodworking things, and I think I saved the information, the contact info of the wood carver who made this. So I might contact him and see if he'd be willing to maybe make some little bit longer ones. Choose your own adventure. Yes, thank you. We got there. And then, yeah, Roxanne Richardson's channel is fantastic. Would 100% recommend checking her out. She does wonderful things about techniques and methods. Her videos on sock fitting have been life-changing for me, because when I try to knit socks, hand knit socks, they never fit me, and I didn't realize it was because of like the architecture of my foot until I followed her series, and that has been so helpful. So 100% recommend. You like small circulars for armholes and neck holes. DPNs catch on the existing work too much. Yeah, that is true. DPNs do tend to catch on whatever you're working on a little bit. Hunter, you're close to finishing this cowl. You need to knit 3 rows, do a Latvian braid, then graft the ends. Oh, you are very close. I should probably also, I don't think I got that far. I have to get to 22 centimeters in the ribbing, and I was at a little over 10. So I don't think that's 20. I probably shouldn't even check, to be honest. DPN, double pointed needles. Yeah, Tin Man Lover, My Wonderful Knitting Life answered the questions. DPNs are double pointed needles. I would show some to you, but I don't have any within like grabbing distance. I might get up in a second though. It was great knitting with you. Oh, too, Daybreak Knots and Knits. You need to sleep. Yeah, it was great to see you. Thank you so much for stopping by. That's fun. Soda Lime Princess, you're currently working on weaving some tea towels and spinning your own wool yarn for the first time. That's so exciting. So I actually have set up my loom to weave tea towels, and I meant to make everyone that as a gift over the holidays, and that didn't happen. But I am still hoping to weave some tea towels. I keep on seeing some in the groups that I follow online, and I'm so ready to get weaving, but I have so many projects that I need to get going on. So I've been putting it off a little bit, but and hand spinning wool. The learning curve was very steep for me personally, but once I got that groove, it's so much fun to spin. I find it, and it feels so magical to see the yarn appearing in your fingers. It's really, really fun. Oh, Celtic Goddess, thank you so much for coming. Another word for choose your own adventure style pattern would be parametric design. You've been taking a class on computational design. Oh, yes, that is very true. I love that. Jean, you just finished my blanket. Time to weave in the ends. Congrats on finishing. Someone finished something. I might have missed if anyone else finished something else, but amazing. I'm thankful that you're here, Jeanette. This is such like a wonderful way to connect with everyone. So I'm so glad that we're doing this. Why are they called tea towels? That's a good question. I go between tea towels and dish towels. Are they the same thing? I try to look it up sometimes, and I feel like there might be a difference in size. I'm guessing that you used them a lot when you made tea. For me, it would be because I spilled my tea trying to make my tea. You'd love to weave some tea towels, and now I finally have a loom for some. Oh, that's so exciting. Getting a loom is such an exciting experience. I feel so lucky that I have both a table loom and a floor loom now. It's so fun to work with both. And the Weaving Guild that I'm a part of, a few people there have the same type of loom that I do, which is really exciting because it's sometimes a little bit hard to get parts because I have a Maycumber, and it's literally a mom and pop shop, and I think that they are a little overwhelmed sometimes with the amount of work that needs doing. So it's nice to have like a group of people that I can reach out to and say like, oh, I need like a part just for this particular weave I want to do, and they can lend it to me. It's nice to have that group of people. I feel really, really lucky. You've only woven scarves so far. I am currently, my most recent next project that I'm working on, the project I'm currently working on, the overarching one, as you probably kind of maybe guessed if you watched my video recently, is I'm hoping to weave a scarf/shawl, depending on how much wool I make, yarn I make, from the rest of my first processed fleece. So I'm really excited. My first weave was also a shawl, and it was I really loved seeing that come together. You're new to knitting, and you started using regular needles, but you bought circular and tried a few days ago, but I got tired and I'll try it again tomorrow. I love that, Tin Man Lover. I think that's a great idea. I think I find circular needles a little less tiring than just straight needles because you don't have to hold the weight of the entire project on the needle as you're knitting it. Sometimes I like using straight needles, especially when I'm working on vintage projects, so that I can use the vintage needle that was called for in the vintage project, but I do find that it makes my fatigue quite a bit worse when I do that. Debbie, you thought that tea towels did not have a nap. Ooh, that's a good. And Reclectic Goods. Tea towels were thin towels used to wrap/insulate the teapot, and the use graduated to more kitchen uses. Oh, okay. According to Google, dish towels are made out of terry. I could see that. That would be very absorbent. That is... I'm probably going to go on a rabbit hole of looking this up after we finish chatting, because I am very curious now what the difference is between a tea towel and a dish towel. I always call it tea towels when I weave them because that's what the weaving drafts are always called, but I never also knew the difference really. And I just use them as general kitchen towels to dry my hands or dry the dishes. When I use my hand woven tea towels or dish towels in the kitchen, I feel like my family always kind of has a heart attack. It's like, oh, you're going to stain it. I'm like, but I wove it to use it. So it makes me happy when things that I make are used, because that's kind of what I made it for. But I can understand. I've put a few stains on some of my hand woven towels that I don't think we'll ever be able to get out. Brisket and ribs, the whole DPN conversation swayed me. I'm over here fighting to stretch stitches over a circular while staring at DPNs in the right size. You're going to try it. Good luck. And I'm sure that you might have heard about this before or others have said it, but make sure to pull the stitches a little bit tighter between the needles, or else you'll have some gaping right where your needles one ends and the new one starts. But I hope you like it. It might be a little bit difficult in the beginning, but I hope you like it. In German, we call it I don't know if it's general or in my family, but we call it Nadelspiel, which literally means like a needle toy, but kind of in a like tongue-in-cheek way, because especially when you're starting out, you kind of have to be messing with it a lot because it can kind of feel like somewhere in your way when you're trying to knit. So I hope it's not too difficult. Soda Lime Princess, my friend gifted me 2 fleeces and a drop spindle. That's so exciting. Do you know what kind of fleeces you have? I am so on the train of processing fleeces now. I have 3 left and I'm already looking for more, which is probably a bad idea because I haven't even processed the ones that I have, and it's a lot of work, but I'm really excited because I'm also going to be showing you, I have acquired some, and I'm also in the process of building some tools to help make processing the fleeces a little less daunting. You got a table loom for free off of OfferUp and never set it up and can't take it with me when you move. No, that's really sad. I was also really, really lucky. I got my table loom for free from my weaving teacher because she the class I took was her last class, and she was retiring and downsizing, and she couldn't take all of her looms with her either. So she was very kind to giving it to me, but I am so sorry that you can't take it with you when you move. That is really hard. Sarah, re all of your family knitting. Did they mainly make garments, or did they each have their own specialty? Did they sell any finished items? So my grandma, on my dad's side, she sold her things to make an extra income, and she sold her things to make a profit to buy a knitting machine in the 50s, and then she would knit sweaters on that and sell it. Everyone else made practical items for themselves to wear. So it was mainly like socks and hats and mittens and sometimes sweaters, but especially like socks because those wore out really quickly. So it was more, shall we say, necessary knitting than hobby knitting. So some of my family members have continued to knit and because they find it fun. Some, after they didn't need to anymore, didn't, because it was more of a chore for them. That's how they always viewed the knitting. Someone left a fleece for free at the last year's Weavers Guild meeting I went to, and you were really tempted to grab it. Oh my gosh, I know. I fear I would have been the person that would have definitely grabbed it, even if I didn't have any capacity to work on that fleece myself. You like your vintage circular needles? Oh yeah, Celtic Goddess. I have some from the 70s that I still need to use, and I can't wait to try those out. And then tea towels are similar to flour sack towels. Okay, that's good to know. And tea towels sounds very cute. And you think maybe home sewn that maybe tea towels are a little bit more decorative to be brought out with a tea you share. I mean, I will say, I think especially the ones that I've seen weaving drafts for, they're so beautiful. And I love seeing them out. So I would do that. Muddling through March, that's a good one. In der Schweiz sagen wir auch Nadelspiel. Oh, okay, love to knit. That's good to, sometimes I don't know because it's something I realized is sometimes my family has saying for things, then I say it either to people who speak German and they're like, I don't know what in the world you're talking about. So sometimes I don't know if it's like a general German thing or if it's just a my family thing. So Love to Knit just said that in Switzerland, they also say Nadelspiel, which is like needle game for DPNs. And Simone, I would love to hear more about your upbringing sometime. Oh yeah, I could go into it very much, but very briefly, I was born in Germany, in southern Germany. I then moved, before I could remember, to Berlin. I spent most of my childhood there until I was about 10. And then we moved to Florida, and that's, well, about half time. So I did half my time in Florida, half my time in Germany until I went to college. So that's why my German isn't the best, because I never really did schooling in Germany except for like the very, very early grades. And I speak with a bit of an accent when I speak German, and all of my slang words, which is really funny when I talk to people my age, all my slang words are from my parents. So they're all from the 80s. So I sound a little outdated to people, I think. Grace, you're off to bed. You keep pushing. Oh no, that's always the worst when you're pushing the DPNs out of the sock that you're working on. Brain fog and nerve. Oh, I'm so sorry. I hope you have a good night and you can hopefully sleep well and sleep off the brain fog a little bit. G Fontaine, that's funny. Muddling through March to At It Again April. I like all of these. These are fun names for all of our attempts at getting through the months. Just because a neighbor is apparently trying to get rid of 3 completely unprocessed alpaca blankets. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's so exciting. Do you have I'm just getting to sit down and work on a wrap that will be a runner on my dresser. Beautiful. I love that. I am so excited. I have one alpaca fleece and I am so excited to work on it. I have less than no idea what I'm doing. I hear it's a little bit different than processing wool, but hopefully not too much. So very exciting. You don't have any idea what kind of, I'm guessing, fleeces they are. She didn't tell me. If I didn't, they were destined to become garden mulch. Oh, I see. Okay. You got original. Oh, I'm so excited for you, Subtleline Princess. That's awesome. It is really cool to see that there's many uses for fleeces, but I also love when people are taking some that would otherwise, what breaks my heart is we have quite a few sheep flocks here where I live. And when it's burn time, a lot of them just get burnt. And I wish that I could take them and turn them all into rugs or something. Like maybe not, the fleeces aren't nice enough to wear next to skin, but how many wool rugs could be created with those instead? Germany and Florida, what a combo. Yeah, it's quite a combo. I have a really interesting combination, I guess. Sometimes also when I speak English, some people, at least when I first moved away from Florida, some people were like, where are you from? And I was like, Germany. And they're like, you don't speak, like, it's not a German. I'm like, in Florida, they're like, I'm not just really, they say I have a very, at least, I don't know if I have it now, but back when I first moved out of Florida, people were like, the way you speak is somehow different a little bit, which I think is funny. You have some old vintage circular linears that have metal cords. Oh, that's so cool. I've seen patterns, I think from as far back as like the 30s that have metal cord circular needles, but I've never found some myself. That's so cool. Knit Fix. I think Nadelspiel might be an old world, as in Ringespiel, the Eastern Austrian for Karussell. Oh, that's okay. So I'm guessing you could probably guess what Karussell is, but that's Carousel and Ringespiel. That's Ringe. It's like a ring game. Oh, that's a fun twist. Chocolates and pasta. I hope you have a good nap. Thanks for hanging out. Wendy, hi from Germany. Hello. 3 a.m. Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm sorry you couldn't sleep, but I'm glad you can hang out a little bit with us. Oh, you like thank you, Charlotte, for my earrings. It's a local artist and she takes old postcards. I'm actually wearing them backwards from how she designed them. The other side is like these flowers and roses, and it was an old postcard, and you can see there's a stamp on one side and then some of the writing. Oh, is that the right side? Yeah, some of the writing on this side. So I thought that was a really cool idea. She takes, and also like really pretty decorative metal tin boxes, and she'll create jewelry out of that too. I really enjoyed it. Let's see. You grew up in Germany in the 80s, Andra. Yeah. I'm a little later than that. I'm in the 90s, but we probably maybe speak a similar slang language then. It is really fun, Camilla, to be able to share the hobby with my whole family. I love it a lot, and it's actually because we can help each other a ton because we all kind of know what we're talking about. So when I first started designing knitting patterns, actually I would send it out to my family. They were all my tech editors. So they would take a look. Again, none of us really knit with patterns, but they would take my pattern and see if they could knit it up. So that was really fun to work with them on that. Trey, no, you messed up like 6 rows back. That's the worst. I hope you can frog back okay and redo. And Tin Man, oh, right. Some of you might not have heard of what I'm working on. So this is, just as a really quick recap, the terrazzo slip over. Oh, sorry, that's someone sent me a message if you heard that in the background. This is the terrazzo slip over from Petite Knits. It's a sleeveless kind of like tunic top that has a split side, a little bit longer in the back than the front. I have finished everything except for the ribbing at the armholes, so we have nothing there. And I left it when I was about halfway done with a turtleneck at the top. So that's what I'm doing. It's knit 1, purl 1 ribbing, but both are through the back loop. And I think I might have messed up a few times, but I'm not sweating it too much. I have put this one down for about 3 years because I originally intended to knit it for a particular occasion and I didn't quite finish it in time. And then I was like, and I picked yarn. I wasn't happy with the yarn or the weight of it. And now when I look at it again, I actually really love it. Love the color, love the weight. Holding like a mohair together with a thicker one. So I'm really happy to be working on it. And Spring the Fiber Enthusiast, hello everyone, just spinning 75/25 wool and nylon. Are you hoping to make some socks with that? Any color or anything? Oh no, Brisket and Ribs, you just transferred your stitches to the DPNs and you already hate it. Yeah, the learning curve on DPNs I think is pretty steep, so I hope it's not too bad for too long. And Train, you're working on a lace blanket, just a skinny strip, so it won't be too bad to undo. Okay, I'm glad, but undoing lace sometimes, ooh, that's not easy. And Spring, you're born and raised Florida, nice. So yeah, I enjoyed growing up there. It's definitely a contrast to Germany. So if Germany is like, I think my family picked Florida because they had a hard time with the very long and dark winters, and Florida is definitely like sunshine and green and a really nice contrast to that. That's so cool. So it's one of the, Zan, it's one of the metal cord circulars that you got from your grandma. I wish I would have gotten my grandmother's knitting things when she passed. That would have been really lovely. But yeah, that's okay. Yeah, home sewn, that's a good idea. A bit of a hand stretch break. And I'm glad you like my earrings. Oh, that's so cool, Camilla, that you had a carpenter that worked on, you made a loom to make floor cloths and dish towels. That is really cool. Oh, thank you, Samantha. Yeah, tweed yarns are definitely a weakness of mine. I love tweed. I love anything tweed. You keep messing up while at work. I can knit when it's quiet. If the ones you have from the settings are the boil set, you can use. Oh, interesting. That is a good question. They might be. I'll have to take a look. Sorry, I'm looking over there because they're right over there, but I'll have to take a look. Francis, you lived in California until you were 10, then in Texas, then in Austria, but you went to a British school. People would ask where you're from when you returned to the US, I'm sure. Well, because I also learned English when I was in Germany, but I learned British English. So my accent sometimes, I still have a hard time because when I was first learning how to write and spell, I also was learning how to write and spell British English. So like when I write favorite or recent or some things like that, I still use the British spelling because, and same with some pronunciations. The Hue Therapist, you're late for the live, love the crowd. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's a vintage one from the 60s, but welcome. And no one's ever late. You can hop in, hop off, whatever you're feeling like. We can just hang out and craft a little bit. It's really fun. How do you make armholes when knitting in the round? Rose art. Oh, the battery died one more time. I'm so sorry for the tech issues. I just have to switch it out really quickly. I hope you can still hear me. This is the fun thing when you decide very last minute to do a live and you can only get the camera working. That doesn't have everything you need, unfortunately. But hopefully we can make it work. Hold on. Sorry for the loud noises. Just trying to get a battery in. Are we back? I hope we're back. Yes, we are. Okay, let me just plug this one in the charger. Okay, there we go. I don't get a warning, unfortunately, when it dies, so it just kind of surprises us when it goes. I was just reading Rose Art. How do you make armholes? Oh, and the chat just kind of restarted. Sorry. Also, if you're still in the Bay Area, the Costumers Guild is having a Regency picnic in May. Oh, that's fun. Unfortunately, no, I'm not in the Bay Area anymore, but I would have loved to join. There is an event near where I am in May for Regency, so I'm hoping to be able to go to that. What ended up happening with a knitting machine your grandmother saved up? Did it stay in the family? I don't know. I don't know what happened to it. I only found out about it. A memory clicked in my brain. I completely forgot about it until I bought my first knitting machine and I did the first motions, and it was like a memory reactivated in my brain about my grandfather telling stories about my grandmother knitting sweaters on the knitting machine. Ruckzuck. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I asked my dad about it because it's his parents, and he was like, I don't know what happened to it. I wish. But I hope that, some of the knitting machines that I have are in good hands and from the people that they came from, the families that they came from. So I am the only one in my family who can crochet, loom, knit, and craft. That's awesome. Although sometimes tough when not all family members understand like crafting. Rosalinda, hi, I'm new to your channel. Love watching your big project. Oh, thank you so much. And turning fiber to knit. I thank you. That was a really fun project, and I'm continuing on that one really soon, where I'm going to be dyeing some of the fleece and processing the rest of it, and I'm hoping to knit it up into a shawl to match my hat. But I first have to find my hat. Analyze with an S. Yes, Francis, exactly. Analyze. That's another big one that I keep on spelling the other way. TW Maiden, hello from Australia. It's 1 p.m. and you're trying to finish your flax jumper. My mother emigrated from Stuttgart at 8 in the 70s. She didn't teach me the language, unfortunately. I feel like it's so hard. My older cousin and I grew up with my cousins like they're my brothers. So I basically call them my brothers. I have an older one and a younger one. And my older one and I, we kept more of the language, and my younger one, he had to basically relearn it. He moved back now to Germany, so he speaks better German than all the rest of us. But even with the entire family speaking German, because we only spoke German at home, even when we were in the US, he lost it, and it's tough, I'm sure. It's your own hand-dyed roving. That's so cool. Sorry, Allie Mae, I don't think it was recent. I was trying to find the word. I think it was analyze, but not recent. Sorry. I'm glad you like this live. And another Aussie. Hey, Teresa, you're also Aussie. You'd be at home here in Canada with your British English spelling. Wench Fairy Games. Yeah. That is true. Yeah, please don't second. I'm sorry. Sometimes I grasp for words and they're definitely not the right ones. Video production ASMR. Yeah, that's funny. When my battery went out. From New Zealand. That's so fun. Hi. Oh, I'm gonna have a hard time. I should really grab my glasses. I can't read your name. I'm so sorry. But hi, for all the way. Your finish at February is to get around to sewing my hand printed patches onto my apron. They've been set around for so long. Oh my gosh, I love that. Did you hand print like screen printing? Or sometimes I don't know so much about fabric printing, so that sounds really cool. I just watched the Fleece to Hat episode today and you lost it. I know. And the thing is, I decided to make a hat because I tend to lose my mittens, and now I don't know where my hat is. But that's the thing with me, is I misplace things all the time. Unless they're fully attached to me, I am guaranteed to lose at least one thing a day. They always show up. I know the hat is in the house. I don't know exactly where, unfortunately. Betty Jones, and my family knitting and crochet skipped a generation. Oh, that's fun. So you can connect with people a generation, like 2 generations above, I guess. That's a fun thing to share. How do you spell analysis, Homezone? Yeah, I guess that is true. You don't spell that with a Z. Rose, hello from Texas. I'm excited I caught you live. Hello, Rose. I lived for a year in Texas too. I lived in Houston for a year for work, so that's kind of fun. Lino cut blocks printed with fabric, and oh, that's so cool. I love lino cut. I am not an artist, and my lino prints are not great, but it is so fun to do lino cuts and then print them. I like doing that for like letters and things that I write. I like doing lino cuts. You're taking a double knit scarf I just finished to a Doctor Who convention tomorrow. That's cool, knitting a tail crafts. I love that. And then, oh, Tiara, did you ever find the Vogue pattern for the journal class? Okay, so that is a really interesting story. I had someone reach out to me, and it's really funny because I am like 99% certain that they bought the copy of that Vogue magazine that I saw online because it has the exact same like little post-it note on the front. They were kind enough to reach out to me, and they scanned in the entire book and sent it my way, and the pattern is not in it. It doesn't exist in that one, and I double checked. I even sent her like the listing from the journal that I have, and the only difference is that mine is printed in the UK and the one that she has is printed in the US. So I'm wondering if there was a difference because it's not in there. So it's a bit of a mystery. I'm still hoping to get my hands on the UK printed version to see if there's a difference, but it isn't in that version, which is wild. Yeah. Crazy. And then, did you move back to where your parents live? Curious why you left the Bay Area. Yeah, Charlotte, I wanted to live near my family. I also am, the Bay Area is not a big city, I guess, but I love living near farmland, and that's kind of where my parents live. So I wanted to be closer to my family, and this is kind of the pace of life in the area that I really love living in. So I had a good time moving here. And then I love knitting and crochet, but it's not easy with a baby. Oh my gosh, I'm sure. Weaving, there's less risk of a tiny helper wreaking havoc, no accidental frogging. I never thought about that, actually. That moving would probably be a little bit easier. Hi from Nebraska, currently working through a colorwork chart with 3 colors. Oh my gosh, Grace. I hope you can stay focused on those charts. I skip lines so easily. I have to like really use those colorwork trackers to make sure that I'm in the right spot. What am I making? I am working on the terrazzo slipover from Petite Knits, and I am on the turtleneck collar portion. I'm a Texan but moved to the UK to be with your husband. You can't help but do one more row of knitting on your first sweater you're attempting. Go, good luck. I hope it goes well for you, Rosalinda. That is so. Knitting is art. Oh, thank you, Hands and Home. I agree. So I guess the art that I'm talking about is more like drawing. The version of art I'm not so good at. True, Allie. It could have been true for the spellings, but you never know. Jean, I love All Creatures Great and Small. There's so many great knits. There are a lot. I have a hard time with that show, though. It's the same with Call the Midwife. I am an incredibly sensitive person. And when I see people in like difficult situations or like animals in pain or difficult medical things, like I have to be in the right headspace to watch it because I'm going to cry. So I really, really enjoy watching that show, especially because the knits in it are fantastic. But oh my gosh, not every episode is like awful. Well, in terms of, sad things happening, but still, even just things being uncertain is difficult for me to watch sometimes. Hi, Linda, all the way from Australia. That's really exciting. Thank you for popping in to say hello. And my maternal great-grandmother used to crochet with a thread and tiny needles. It's amazing that you can look at a pattern and recreate it down to the stitch. Some of the antique crochet patterns that I have they're no words. It's just the print of the finished piece, and you were expected to be able to interpret it and just make it. But the fact that people used thread to crochet is because I've bought some. I used to live near where, I'm going to pronounce it incorrectly, probably. I think it's Lacis. I always said laces, but I think it's Lacis, which provides like specialty lace making equipment. And they had tiny, tiny, tiny cotton crochet. I have it because I'd like to use it at some point, but I don't know when. It's so small. Which number Vogue book was it? Catherine, it was the first Vogue. It's like Vogue's book of knitting and crochet, and it's the first one. And so it's the first ever one. It doesn't really have a number to it. So I'm hoping, I don't know. Zanya, it was a little frustrating that the US printing didn't have it. I know. So I'm still like hanging on to the hope that maybe at some point I can get a UK version of the print and see. Hi, Elsa. Greetings from Canada. And thank you so much. And you're sewing up a Bronze Age shirt that you've been that is so, that is one of my I have so many next big projects, but one of the big projects that I hope to tackle is, and Evie did it on Jillian Eve too, not Bronze Age, but to take like a archaeological textile clothing find and recreate it from hand spinning to weaving to sewing. That would be amazing. She did it with another word I'm going to pronounce really terribly, Hjorlfsness finds from Viking Age Greenland, I think. Yeah, which is really cool. Hi, Mad Cricket. And you lost your loom hook again. Time to look for it after you make a cup of coffee. Yeah, it's a good idea. Charlotte, you also live loved living near open fields and farms. It's a happy place. That is very true. And it's kind of funny. So where we live, it was not on purpose at all, but it turns out that there's a substantial German expat community here. And we always joke because we live near like a lake and the mountains and fields, and we're like, yeah, we just find like Heidi land to live in wherever we go. You just cast off your new sapphire. Congrats, Erin. We have another finished object. That is amazing. You might have to weave in some ends, but it's awesome that you just cast off. Congrats. That's huge. And Ravenna, when you're making sweaters for your kids, I'm wondering if you're asking someone else, because I don't have children, but maybe someone else can answer that. My guess would be yes, because that's what my grandmothers always told me, is when they would knit for my mom and dad, they always knit like 1 or 2 sizes up, because they're like, you can always fold over the sleeves, but it's a lot less work than having to reknit the sweaters all the time. My mother still has a bedspread she made out of the tiny needles and thread. That's an entire bedspread is mind-blowing. Sometimes I see them in like antique stores or thrift stores, and I just am astounded at the level of work that is put into those pieces. You love crocheting with thread, especially doilies. I'm sure, Samantha, they look exquisite when you work with such small thread. You can get so many beautiful details. I have one, I don't think it's thread, and it's for knitting, and the name escapes me now, but it's Spitzenarbeit, which is, I think, lace work. And there's a famous designer of like these huge doilies with the most intricate knit lace pattern. I have one, and I'm like, maybe someday, but I don't know when. What am I working on? You're working on the Rhodes sweater. Oh, that sounds fun. I'm working on the turtleneck area, collar area of the terrazzo slipover by Petite Knits. And I'm really excited that I'm finally picking this up again. You love crocheting lace. We'll be starting a collar along on the 23rd. Ooh, that sounds really fun. Crochet lace has a definition to it that I think is really, really nice. Like, I think you get some really beautiful effects when you crochet lace. Are you doing any particular kind of, because I do, some of my favorites are Irish lace in crochet, but maybe you're not working on that one. We're glad to goods. Zan, archaeology inspired crafts are always super cool. I agree. I could dive into them forever. I follow a few researchers, and I get some emails when they post new studies and things, and it's really fun to read some of their texts too. So, home sewn, you have Greenland is quite that. Thank you. I'm not going to say the Greenland Viking textile location name one more time, because I think that was my one and only good shot, but it is amazing treasure trove for Viking textiles. And on Evie's recommendation, I bought the books for medieval garments. I think actually, do I have it? Yeah, I have it right here. There's 2 of them. I have both. I don't know where the other one is, but it's like Medieval Garments Reconstructed, Norse Clothing Patterns. And what's amazing, I don't know if it's this one or the companion book that I have to this one, but they even lay out the pieces that they found in pattern pieces in grid format so that you can fully recreate it should you want to. And with every single piece, they also have exactly what yarn was used, the way it was spun, Z, ply, grist, so you can recreate it fully, which I think is so cool. Can you tell? I love geeking out about stuff like that. So that's another huge bucket list thing. And for that particular project, I'm really hoping to be able to build a warp weighted loom. And on top of that, I have been gardening a lot, and the soil here is like 90% clay. So I've actually been saving the clay that I'm digging up as I'm gardening, because I'm hoping to use them for my loom weights for my warp weighted loom, and I'm planning to fire them in the summer. So another very lofty project idea, but we'll have to see how far I can get on that one. Sorry, I am just so excited about all of these ideas. Elsa, you are recreating I'm not going to attempt to pronounce that one, but I want to look that one up. I don't know that I've heard of that one. So I want to look up that one. Oh, your mother also has it. Oh, tablecloth too. I'd be maybe a little afraid to use like a tablecloth that a great grandmother made. I would spill everything on it. Mad Cricket, I didn't know you did lives. I did sometimes in the past, and I just thought that I kind of wanted to do a group thing. Also, it's getting a little close to another half an hour, and my batteries have been lasting about half an hour, so I might drop out. But I had the other battery is charged, so it'll be hopefully brief, so I can do a quick battery change. I just wanted to give a warning. I'm hoping to do some more because it just feels like hanging out with friends and doing some knitting together, and especially in these dark evenings in the wintertime, it's nice to have a group that we're chatting along with. And how are my Hexie Puffs going? They're going good. I'm getting quite a few of people sending them in. I'm really excited to be working on them. I've started filming for it too as I'm unpacking and kind of organizing everything. They look beautiful. I am so excited. Thank you. If any of you have sent any, thank you so much. That sounds amazing. Alma, you just started women's work. It's fascinating. I'm so glad you're liking. I actually put that back on my list to re-listen to because it's been so long since I listened to it last. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I want to. Your mother used to quilt and taught me to knit. Oh, that's really, I love the like passed on traditions, or if you start it yourself and maybe passing it on to someone else, it's really fun. Oh yeah, the Hope Chest, Deborah. So speaking of Hope Chests, I'm probably going to get really off topic and I'm super behind on chat, but Evie from Jillian Eve told me about Berta's Flax, which is a project to record and document and treasure the Hope Chests, specifically flax Hope Chests of people in like Germany, Austria, Switzerland area, because Hope Chests at the time used to be filled with lined flax. And if you sign up for it, then you help the whole project, and you actually part of your membership benefit is that you might get one of the stricks of line flax from an antique Hope chest. So I signed up for that, and I'm hoping to get some. It's really hard to find flax stricks. They're not easy to source. So I'm super excited to see what one of those might be like. Anyway, speaking of Hope chests, which is fun. Ravenna, I'm sorry. You just reached the beginning of the cuff of your first sleeve and realized I was meant to knit in decreases. No. Big sleeves it is. I love it. Sometimes you just go along with it. Happens to me a lot when I get to a certain part and they're like, and you should have this many stitches. And I'm like, I have a few more. I guess I'll just do some decreases before I go to the next bit. So that's fine. You may also enjoy Woven into the Earth. I think I haven't read that one, but I'm going to have to look that up. And then, are there any other? I'm just seeing if there's. I'm a little behind on the chat. I'm so sorry if I missed any messages. Oh yes, the rose point collar. Madame Reggio is your idol. Oh my gosh! So I have to admit something. I was this close to buying one of her correspondence letters from eBay, because I have an alert set up anytime anything is put on eBay from her, because I love her things too. And it had some of her like business correspondence letters. And I was like, I don't know that I'm the right custodian for this, but that would be amazing to have. Yeah. Just maybe you and Jillian Eve should do a joint stream about the historical fiber stuff. That would be so fun. Oh my gosh. She was so kind in literally hopping on a call the next day when I had problems with my spinning wheel. And it was supposed to just be like a brief chat so that she could help me figure out what to do. And we spoke for hours. She has so much knowledge. Like her videos, I love watching her videos, but it's just a drop of information. Like it's fantastic. That would be so fun, and I could just sit and listen to her too. I feel like the entire live stream would be me like sitting there just listening to all the information she has. Oh my gosh, I might tear up actually, because she sent me a video after we talked about flax, like traditional flax spinning in a particular area of Germany, and I realized like that I have a particular like cultural heritage, and it's exactly like that's how my grandmother looked when she spun. And so it's just, I don't know, it was very, very touching. It was really cool. Yeah. Sorry. Maggie, you just started a cowl today using the same stitch pattern as Marley Bird's game day hat from this year. Then it's back to a beautiful DK cable sweater I'm testing. Oh, that's awesome that you're doing a sweater test. That sounds really, really beautiful. Jazz hands, you're about to finish your first beanie. Just weaving in the pom-pom ends. Congrats on being so close. And you finished the Bachelor's Tea Cozy. No way. My first ever. I'm so glad that you liked it. I really enjoyed the Bachelor's Tea Cozy. I actually just unpacked it. I don't know where I have to find it because I really like the teapot that it's around too. So that's amazing. Your granny taught you to knit and your mom taught you to crochet. I love that. It's like a generational. And I should do the pineapple red. I know I've been wanting to do the pineapple. That's another one on my long, long list of things to do. Your dream is to spin your own yarn to weave, but I'm still new to this and working on getting, the consistent draft. I'm actually kind of worried about my current project of being able to get a strong enough and consistent enough warp that won't degrade too much because warp has to go through quite a bit of rough handling when you put it under tension and it opens to the sheds and it goes to the heddles and everything. But I found the book Spin to Weave. And I read through that one, and that one has kind of really eased my concerns in spinning my first warp. So I'm hoping, I haven't done it yet. So we'll see when we get there. I don't know. Sleep deprived. Why are acrylic baby yarns recommended over sheep's wool? So I've heard a few reasons. There might be more, but the two ones that I hear of a lot is that with sheep's wool, especially if it's not, my brain is superwash. There we go. Then you can't just throw it in the wash. And especially, I wouldn't know, but a lot of people say that it's nice to be able to just throw things in the wash and not worry about it and wash it on hot, dry it on hot. And you can't really do that with wool. The other thing is that sometimes baby skins are a little bit sensitive. Some are allergic to wool or the lanolin in wool. And so acrylic is just a little bit safer for that. And it's easier to take care of in that way. So those are the reasons I've heard. Possibly a silly question, but is your camera from Europe? If so, that's true. They stop recording after 30 minutes. Yeah, this camera does too. And I do have that turned off. There's like a setting that I can override, but no, it's 100% the battery dying. I didn't have the time to get the appropriate battery thing to make it not die. So next time I'll get that done. James Watson, this is my first live here. Hello, welcome. You just finished your most ambitious project yet, a total overhaul of your Brother KH588 push button knitting machines. Wow. That's impressive. Does everything, were you left over with screws at the end, or did you find all the places for everything? Because that was my mistake. It's always kind of an issue for me personally, at least, is that I put something together and then there's some screws left over, which is obviously a problem because that means I forgot to put something back together. So that is a lot of work. Congrats on finishing that. And then I've stopped knitting. I should probably pick up my knitting more. Becky Ross, my Danish aunt from Australia taught me to knit as a kid on a visit to us in Alaska, but got back into knitting more about 7 years ago. Oh, that's really cool. Does that mean that you started with continental knitting, or did you do like throwing or flicking? And we have family friends actually in Alaska up in Wiseman. I don't know if you know that area, but it's really, I haven't seen them in a long time, but it's really cool to keep in touch with them. Sarah, yes, actually that's a great reminder to drink some water. I've been talking a lot. Or else I'm going to get dehydrated. Thank you. Train. Oh, you taught your mom to crochet and sew. Oh, I love that. And you've given her the bug. That's so fun. I like that when you can spread a new craft through the generations, through your family, through your friends. It's fun, especially when they catch the bug. Then you have a new crafting buddy. You're making yourself a crochet hexagon sweater. First time making myself a sweater. Oh, Abram, I'm so glad. It's really fun to then like wear the first sweater I still have my first sweater. I still wear it sometimes. I really like it, even though mine personally was a little wonky. But I still love it so much. Mad Cricket, your mom taught me to crochet and knit. And when I asked her questions, she denied ever knowing how to knit. No way. That's so funny. Soda Lum, you can treat the spun warp with gelatin. I've been deep diving that rabbit hole. Yes. Yep. To do some, what is it called? Sizing of the warp? Not seizing. Sizing, I think. And then can you please give us more Nutella in your videos? I mean, I will always include more Nutella. I am caught on my chair. Hold on. Let me see if I can untangle myself. I love giving you guys more Nutella. She's kind of funny though, because she seems to know when she's doing something very cute and I turn the camera on, she stops and leaves. So the times that she's on camera is when she chooses to come and join me and be on the camera. But if she wants to enjoy some more time with me, I will never say no. And I might actually, the next time the battery dies, I might go and check on Nutella a little bit too and just make sure that she's good upstairs. And then let's see. Yeah, more Nutella. If a baby garden wasn't super easy care, it would have been once, if that, in my house. Yeah, that's what I hear a lot about baby wear items, is that they need to be easy to care for. Kristen, you bought a knitting machine recently. Do I have any resources for learning stitches, translating patterns, hand knit to machine? So I mostly go to for like a website. I think it's called Knit It Now. Some of it might be behind a paywall, but some of the information I found is free, especially like manuals I think they have on there, which have been really helpful. And then there's also I think Knitology 1 by 1, a channel on YouTube that does some. Roberta Rose Meads is another channel. And then there was one more. Oh, the Answer Lady Knits. They have some really, I mean, they're maybe older videos, so the quality isn't the best. But especially when I've gotten really stuck on things, those are all the channels that I go to and all the websites that I go to for help. And I would suggest there's some like online places. If you're not against going to like Facebook for the groups, there's some really great spots to go to for if you get stuck or need to have some questions answered. Maggie, you grew up in Juneau and you live in Washington State now. Oh, that's so fun. Yeah, I visited Juneau when I visited my family friend. That was a really cool trip. I can't believe I got to go to Alaska, to be honest, which is fun. Allie, I did want to finish my section of crochet, but my wrist is clicking. No, that's maybe not so good. Oh my gosh, yeah, that it is nearing 3 a.m. I hope you sleep well, but thank you so much for stopping by. James, you've got a few SKUs left over, but I know where they go. Okay, that's good. I don't usually know where the SKUs go that are left over for me, so I'm glad you know. And it's, oh yeah, name badges and vanity plates. That makes so much sense to not put them in yet, especially if you're adjusting things. That's a good idea. Did you follow any particular tutorials to do the overhauls? Because like I said, I followed like the Answer Nady Knits and Rosa Meads. Excuse me. When I was doing the overhaul of mine, and they had some suggestions, but it was hard. Oh, and I also found the maintenance manual for some of my knitting machines, and I try to follow that, but I think that is some partially dying knowledge a little bit. Most older folk knitters I've met in Australia are right-hand throwers. Interesting. I guess that would make sense though, because I feel like the background is a little bit more like UK based, but I don't know. Your usual issue is losing screws, James. So I'm glad you have all of them except for 2, which were ruined in one way or another. Oh, there goes the battery. I'm going to switch it really quickly. So hopefully you'll get some more ASMR tech work, which is fun. I might have just hit the microphone. I hope that wasn't too loud on your end. These batteries are lasting a little bit longer, which is nice. About 40 minutes. Oh, that one went in the wrong way. ASMR tech support, which is kind of fun. Okay, I'll wait until about 8, and then I might take a break to just run upstairs and check on Nutella really quickly. You learned how to crochet from your grandmother, and you're able to teach your mom. That's fun, Bonnie, that you were able to pass on that knowledge to your mom that way. Yes, Knit It Now is the resource that I hope that's what I said. That's exactly the resource that I like to use as well for knitting machine things. And then Simone, you're watching snow flurries outside the window in Wisconsin, and this is just the motivation you needed. Oh, that's so good. Your favorite videos are the vintage colorwork sweaters. Do I have another plans on doing another one soon? I guess it depends on your definition of soon. I do have a vintage colorwork vest that I desperately want to recreate. It's just a matter of time, and priorities might be like a strong word. I don't know, just where it can be fit in. That is the next colorwork project that I want to do, though, for sure. And another mistake train, no. It's not too bad and looks just a little off. Yeah, that is true. One thing I learned actually from Kutavakika, if you watch that channel, is that especially in color work, if you make a mistake, I never thought about this before, you can duplicate stitch over your mistakes. It's beautiful. I love it. And then what else? Ravenna, you had to watch your son's baby sweater almost daily. Yeah, that wool, I don't know, would survive. It could probably survive depending on how you washed it, but I don't know if you want to take the time to do that washing. And you finally learned to knit after trying for 3 years and have been working up several baby blankets. That's amazing. And baby blankets, I mean, those are, okay, they're not full blankets, but blankets of any kind are quite a lot of work. Your best friend's mom's family lives in Alaska. Oh, that's fun. Yeah, well, I think we have a lot of snow all the way over here. We've got quite the snowstorm here. It looks like there was a moment where it looked like I might have to go, we get the internet through a satellite here. And sometimes when we have snowstorms, we have to go knock the snow off of the satellite dish so that we can get internet again. But looks like we're okay, thankfully, right now. You use the Answer Lady Knits a tiny bit, James, but it was mostly down to the service manual. Yes. Yep. The service manuals or the maintenance manuals are really good, especially if they have images. The ones for mine have never been images, unfortunately, but that must be really helpful. You're a right-handed thrower and I accidentally ripped my yarn. Oops, I think I tangled it in my chair a little too much. Oh, you know what I did? I rolled over it. That's what happened. Okay. Oops. I'm paying too close attention to chat. Celtic Goddess, you're a right-hand thrower and a right-hand yarn. I don't think so you hold your yarn in your right hand. I don't know that I've ever seen someone who crochets like that. That is so cool. And you learned how to knit from a dorm mate in college whose mom owned a yarn store. A couple of years later, I studied in Denmark and switched to Continental. Oh, that's really cool. Oh my God, could you imagine if your mom owned a yarn store growing up? That would have been fantastic. Homesun, is there a good resource out there that demonstrates or describes all these different knitting techniques you're all describing? I'm completely lost. It's a good question. If someone else has an idea, please do let me know. I just kind of came across them as I go through things, so I don't know that I have a good idea for a resource. Soda Lime Princess, I hope you have a good night. Oh, you're in Vermont. That's exciting. I'm so excited. I'm going to hint at it, but I'm going to a weaving class in Vermont, and I'm so excited. I can't wait. James, also unadulterated stubbornness and trial and error. Your first attempt on a push button machine versus a KH891. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that is true. I mean, sometimes the perseverance and just knowing that you'll be like really excited when you've finished is enough to get you through it like that. Your knitting machines videos are interesting, but I'm scared to delve into buying one of my own. Maybe if there's some kind of support group, I don't think I have your tenacity. Yeah, I mean, knitting, I think you have to have maybe not have to, but especially because it's not typical, I would say, for people to dive right in to get like a brand new machine. You're working with like vintage ones, which require a little bit of fiddling with. And that can sometimes be an even steeper learning curve than just figuring out the machine, if you know what I mean. So there are guilds in the Bay Area. There was a knitting machine guild that met monthly, and you didn't have to have a knitting machine. You can show up, people would bring theirs, and they would teach you on those, which I thought was a great idea. I don't know how common those are. I haven't found one in my area. Maybe I should start one because I have probably more than enough knitting machines to hold a class. But that could be an idea, honestly. Or maybe just an online one would be fun. So many ideas. Annie, you don't knit or crochet, but your mom does, and you like to learn all crafty theory. Oh, that's fun. Well, thank you for being here. And Eleanor, well, that's my guess. You're working on a Norwegian ski sweater and realizing you might have slightly miscalculated the row gauge, and it's actually time to bind off the... Oh, that's good. Yeah, you're so close. Oh, I love Norwegian ski sweaters. They are so beautiful. And Ashley, you love Kudavakika. You're working on her... Oh my gosh, her patterns are so beautiful. Oh my gosh. And her videos, she just has such a way of making things feel so cozy. I really like it. You're knitting this sweet shop blanket for a friend's daughter who is expecting that she's not due for 3 weeks, but is being induced today. Oh, well, the baby will be here before the blanket. I've had a few where that happened as well. I promised I recently became an aunt. By recent, I mean like in October. And I promised them a hand-woven baby blanket. And let's just say that loom is not even warped yet. So that baby might be one before they get what I promised. I feel really bad. But sometimes that's the way it is. I'm going to guess I'm so sorry with maybe some of my name pronunciation. I think it's Hosalie. Late to the party, but thank you for responding to your page. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so excited. I think on Patreon, I will make, like, depending on the tier, I'll make you a machine knit gift, and I'm working on a Regency reticule for a Hosalie, and I'm very excited because I thought that idea was great, and I have some thoughts on how I'm going to construct it. So it's been fun. I've been designing it a little bit. And Kristen, will you be doing this again in February? You've been trying to finish the Pioneer shawl for years, and I'm about 75% of the way. Oh, I'm glad that this is providing the perfect excuse. I would like to. I think I need to figure out a few things, right? Like the focus would probably be good. The ominous square focusing on my face. It'll probably be good to have that gone. And the battery being need to change every 40 minutes would probably be figured out. But that's part of the fun, is figuring out the stuff that needs to be improved while we're working through this. So yes, I would like to. I can't tell you exactly what the schedule might be. It might be a little bit of a last minute notice, but yeah, I might put out a poll for like what day and what time might be best. I just picked this one because it was good for me, but maybe. Celtic Goddess. Oh, sorry, I don't want to. Fibre Hijinks, hi, welcome. That's so excited. And then, oh gosh, the chat sometimes scrolls so quickly and I lose some messages. I'm so sorry. You might have to, if you had something you wanted me to see, you might have to resend that note. But welcome, Fibre Hijinks. I'm glad you were able to make it. And let's see. Hello, we have a few people from Australia. I'm so glad that you're able to come, and you're working on sewing projects, which is awesome. And Celtic Goddess, you essentially crochet if I'm knitting, but with one hook instead of two. Oh, okay, that makes so much sense. Yarn and hook in your right hand and throw. Yeah, project in your left. So you're doing everything with your right, and you're holding your project in your left. I feel like, I wonder, because I was trying to look into supported style knitting and seeing if you could knit in a way that makes one hand free. I'm not sure. I once went on a super deep dive of like historical knitting techniques that where people used to knit as efficiently as possible, or in a way, when you were like walking from place to place, but also carrying something or doing something else. And another one was that I've always wanted to try out is knitting socks 2 at a time, but knitting as if you're double knitting, but not interlocking your stitches. So you're knitting one sock inside of the other sock at the same time. Like, that was mind blowing to me, and I want to try that out. Oh, Tiara, sharpen pencils, which as needles, which is a US size 10. That's great. I like that. RDW, Knitter's Pride has an article with some of the more well-known knitting techniques. Oh, that's a great resource. Thank you so much. Pencil knitters, you've done that too. When I was first trying to learn how to spin on a drop spindle, I used a pencil with a CD as my first attempt, and that did not go very well. James, you've bought your knitting machine because you always wanted to knit by doing it by hand. Projects never got done. This is the first time you've actually finished a knitting project. I will say the knitting machines are really nice for, like you said, finally being able to finish some projects. And what I found, I started using knitting machines because I'm just fascinated with machinery in general, but it's been really nice to be able to continue. I have a really big urge to craft and create. I want to be creating things. I would like to be working on things, but I don't want to be injuring myself more. So I try to limit my hand knitting. And so machine knitting has been a really nice outlet for that. And Very Pink Knits, yes, is a great technique learning channel. 100% agree. I've watched them a lot too. And then Roxanne Richardson, Jeanette, yes, she is also fantastic. And then, whoops. Oh, Debbie, you're working on a Kudavakika sweater tonight. That's, which one are you working on? I want to do I think it's the wishbone sweater. I really want to work on that one. And the wedding dress she made for herself, Deborah, I think that's the one that really expanded her YouTube audience too, which is amazing to have, to be able to do that and to create her career in that way. What a beautiful story overall. I think that's amazing. So, home son, you're still waiting for the baby blanket your mother promised you at the birth of your child who's 26. Okay, that doesn't make me feel so bad about my promised blanket either. That's so funny. She was going to make a quilt for a dog who died in 2015. Oh no. Oh, that's so funny. Hi Dion, thank you so much for joining. I hope we can do a few more. Are you working anything in particular? And Susan Bryant, yes, that's another good one. Hello from South Africa. Hi Jason, you crochet. I'm so glad you're inspired to work on some things, and thank you so much for waking up early. I think it's so fun from all the different places that people are joining. That's really great. The lower the res, the more it seems like a FaceTime call with a friend. Well, I'm glad that the technical issues sometimes are endearing and not annoying, which is better. And then knitting a tail crafts. Do you work outside of YouTube or is this your work now? So this is now my work. I was a software, I've been a few things. I was a chemical engineer and then a software engineer. And I got laid off, but I was happily laid off. I was actually looking to leave. So I was pretty happy with that outcome. And I work so much better when I get to dictate my hours and my working condition, what my workspace looks like. So I just feel so incredibly lucky. And I'm sure that so many people who are in my position share the sentiment that I get to do this as my job now. It's when I started, I think it's 5 or 6 years ago now, I just wanted to find a way to connect with people who are interested in similar things to me. I found it really hard to find a community of people who were interested in historical knitting. I hadn't at the time discovered so many of the groups that exist as I now know, but I didn't it. I cannot believe what it's turned into, basically, and I won't harp on it too long, but thank you all, because what a dream come true, and it's been so fun, beyond fun. Have you looked into knitting belts? Yes, I would very much like to use a knitting belt, but I need to, it's a whole, I have to hold myself off from acquiring things before I have figured out and or used or tried out all the things that I have. There's maybe a slightly embarrassing amount of things that I have acquired that I want to do projects with that I haven't shown you yet. I have a knitting machine from, I think my guess is maybe the 1870s or so. It's so heavy. It's cast iron, and I need to fix it. I'm in contact with someone who uses it to knit Fair Isle, not my machine obviously, but a very similar one, because there's some bits of mine that are broken off, and there's no manuals anywhere, but she uses it on a production basis. So so many things that I want to do. The YouTube channel Sparks Curiosity just posted a video about her 3D printed flatbed machine. Oh my, I am going to have to go back through all of this chat, because there's been so many things that have come up, like book recommendations and a Bronze Age shirt and Sparks Curiosity and even more that I need to remember and dive into. The Anna edition, you're working on a baby cardigan for your nephew to be. That's so exciting. I'm going to embroider mushrooms on it. I love that idea. I love embroidered knits. I think that's such a cute combination, and that sounds really adorable. I love that. You learned how to knit with pixie sticks and jute string. Resourcefulness. And then I'm guessing, Raffletoon, you were talking about the same one. They released today the 3D printable flatbed knitting machine. I have to go take a look. I have so many questions about the mechanisms and can't even form words anymore. I'm so excited. You learned to make the Hexie Puffs, Luthvian. You're sewing tonight for the first time in 12 years. You learned to knit to make the Hexie Puffs. That's amazing. Oh my God, that's really, really cool. And Fiber Hydrix, you're trying to finish a hat for your husband. You think a hat wouldn't be a struggle to finish, but you did the gauge swatch 8 months ago and you're just now actually getting to knit. Yeah, sometimes, I don't know. You start a project and it just, like, you gauge swatch for it, and it's just a lot. Brisket and ribs, you're traveling to the Bay Area in the spring. Any local yarn stores, you should definitely stop by. I wish I could remember the name of it. It's the one they actually hosted, Arna and Carlos, and they were a little bit south in, like, I think Redwood City. Oh goodness, if anyone's in the chat is in the Bay Area and they know, maybe they already recommended it because I'm a little behind, but I wish I could remember. There's some really cute, like a little bit south in the Bay, local yarn shops that are fun. You're doing Room to Bloom. You've made a toddler sweater and a sweater for a 9-year-old, but it'll be the first adult sweater you've made. Oh, that's exciting. Is it for yourself or a gift for someone else? I wonder, Debbie. And whoops, my chat just skipped again. Oh, darn, sorry. You're knitting the Douglas cardigan for your daughter, Dion. That sounds really beautiful. I barely get enough. I feel so bad. I always knit for myself and I don't get the time to knit for anyone else, really, a ton of times. Oh, Amanda, that's so exciting that you nearly finished the Mon cardigan. It was the first finished thing. That wasn't just stockinette. You're finishing the collar. Congrats, and I hope you enjoy it. That's so fun. Brief research says your mom knitted continental and your father knitted Shetland, embedding the end of the needle in his belly button or on his leg. Oh, that's so cool. Wow, what a way. And then what else? Yes, Knitting a Tale Crafts. The Royal Bee in Pacifica is such a cute shop. I really enjoyed that one. I found some really beautiful hand-dyed. Some of my Hexie Puff golden centers are from yarn from the Royal Bee in Pacifica. I really loved that yarn. James, you're working hard not to buy any more equipment for your knitting machine. You got bitten by the bug and the urge to buy a knit leader or ribber is intense. Oh my gosh, I know. I held strong for a long time and not buying too many accessories for my knitting machines, but I don't know if you can see all of that, but I have my entire table full of knitting machines and their accessories, and I have even more. But I love them all and I use them all and they're all wonderful for certain things. That's the thing with knitting machines, is like they're not, depending on what you like to knit and what you like to do, they're not as widely applicable sometimes. They're sometimes a little bit specific, but they're still so much fun. Dion, you'd love to find some historical knitting patterns for larger than a size 34 bust. I know that is really difficult to find, and one of the things that I find the hardest in knitting patterns. And I found a lot of really great resources. The chat might have to help me remember, but there's some really great ones for sizing it up. But sometimes it's nice just to be able to say like, here's a knitting pattern, this is my size, I'm going to go ahead and knit it, rather than sitting down and doing a ton of math beforehand. I have found some. I'm looking at my shelf like I can find it immediately. I'm definitely not going to be able to find it just by looking at it right now, but I have found some vintage, like from the 40s, knitting pattern pamphlets for bust size up to 44. But that's the biggest I found, and it wasn't even every pattern in the book. It was like maybe 2 of the patterns in the entire book went up to the size, so not as fun. Fiber hijinks. It's funny to hear you say that you mostly knit for yourself. I'm one of those people who basically only knit things for other people. And I feel like that's interesting. I have found that too, is that I feel like people tend to fall into like the categories of you knit mostly for yourself or you knit mostly for others. For me, it's that I don't want to make someone feel like I have a hard time with gifts. I don't know. Just society, like social norms sometimes are a little bit tough for me. And so like, I don't want to make anyone feel it, because I don't want them to feel bad for it's hard to explain, but sometimes I feel bad giving people gifts to make them feel like they're obligated in some way than to me. And then also I feel like I can't guarantee that I'll knit it in the right size. So I feel bad if someone has to be thankful for something that doesn't even fit or they don't even like. And even if I ask them beforehand, I don't know. That's just a personal hang up of mine. And when I knit for myself, even if there's something that I messed up on or if it's not exactly right, then I say, oh, it's just for me. And I know that I made it, so I don't mind so much. I don't know. Is that strange? I'm not sure. Let's see. Ray. I'm using my time tonight to finish a pair of socks, almost to the end of the toe on the second pair. That is second of the pair. That is exciting. So you're close to being done. Eclectic goods. The crocheted stockings you made, was there a pattern and did you wing it? I need to watch the video again. Did I make crocheted stockings? I don't know if I made. You might have to remind me a little bit more. I don't know that I've made crochet stockings. Maybe Claude made, Retro Claude made some crocheted stockings. I'm not sure. Debbie Wolf, you've mainly been a gift knitter. So this year I decided the Room to Bloom sweater was for me. That's exciting. I love that you're making your own. Brisket and ribs. I'm newly in Utah and the knitting community here seems quite small. Jonesing for a good yarn shop crawl. I love that. There is a yarn shop that I love in Ogden, but I don't know more than that area personally. That is cool. Noelia, I like that idea, like the recommendation. Sorry, James. My favorite thing to make is lace. Oh, nice. But I started like Fair Isle and punch cards would be nice, so I can already tell I'm going to have to acquire more. Oh, punch cards are so fun. I am going to be going nuts, I think, very soon. Well, maybe not too nuts, but a little bit, with making some punch cards for my brother machine, which I'm really excited for Fair Isle. You want your work to be appreciated, but you don't want people to make people obligated to appreciate your work. Yes, that's a good way to put it, Home Sewn, is like I don't want to make people feel obligated to appreciate it if they don't want it or they don't like it. And if someone doesn't like it, and especially with like, for me, knit or crochet gifts, there's so much behind it. Like I find that hard. I don't know. Rana, but I've been meaning to ask, have you heard about DFTBA? Don't forget to be awesome, from Hank and John Green. It seems to help beauty creators make merch. I know about Hank and John Green, but I did not know about them. And I did not know that Bernadette is on there. That is so cool. I'll have to check it out. That sounds really neat. And then Susan Crawford, yes, for plus size vintage. That is another good one. She writes the pattern for vintage knitting patterns in modern style and grades them size inclusive. Thank you, Selena. That is, Susan Crawford is a good one. Basilisk, I've started shuttle tatting recently and I'm working on a historically inspired lace reticule. Beautiful. I love tatting is another really, really fun one. I know there's needle and shuttle, but shuttle just is like, it flows easier for me personally. So that's really fun. I've also always just kept my eye out. I would love to have an antique shuttle, but I haven't found one yet that works. So I'm but that sounds beautiful. A lace reticule, although I typically only make like smaller medallion size things. I think this is one of the biggest things I've done in tatting, so I can't imagine the amount of work that it would take to do an entire reticule. And this is a pretty big thread too, so especially for tatting. I just got a photo from a friend who I made calf length toe socks for. They fit. That was a terrifying gift knit because I wasn't sure at all if I was shaping them right. Yeah, especially for calf length. But that's great, Deep Creek. I'm glad that you got confirmation that they fit right. That's exciting. Dion, I believe that people need to be knit worthy. When they appreciate it, they will take care of it. That is very true. Knit worthy is a pretty good bar, and sometimes a pretty high bar to be knit worthy for. Susan Crawford, her pattern's awesome. Yeah. Love it. You make things for other crafters. That is another good point, is if you make things for other people who also craft, I feel like there's a mutual understanding for like the work and the trials maybe that went into making something. Oh no, I think, oh boy, we're having some signal problems. I'm a little out of breath. Sorry, I'm a little out of breath. Yeah, I noticed that I froze and I knocked some snow off of my satellite, but I don't know if it's gonna help. We're struggling a little bit. I also picked up a little follower right here, little Nutella. I might have to, I might have to go because, oh, there we go. Breathe, yeah, sorry. It's 2 flights up. So I just ran up and down the stairs and I'm not in the best shape. I must have something really yummy. Oh, I ate, you know what? I ate a little bit of cheese for dinner. Oh, why is, oh. Oh yeah, sending good internet connection vibes to everyone. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep up with the stream quite so much. I definitely have cheese on my hands from dinner. That Nutella is helping me clean up. There was a bit of snow buildup on the dish that I knocked off, but it's enough to get us back, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. Oh, we've got someone going on the desk. Okay. There she goes. Oh, yeah, I'm so sorry for the bad internet connection. But if you can hear me, sign off for tonight. But this won't be the last live stream in February. I am planning on doing a few more for Finish It February, which I'm super excited about. I can't tell you exactly when. I might put out a poll to ask when it might be the best time for some people. I might go cuddle Nutella and double check some of my work that I knit because I don't know if I did everything correctly. I might have to go back and fix it. But thank you all so much for joining me. I'm so sorry if you can't hear me. Oh, I hope that everyone has a really lovely night and I will see you soon. I'm going to write a quick message in chat. Oh, I can't even type in chat. And I hope you have a wonderful night. Thank you, thank you. Thanks everyone for joining, and I hope you have a good day. I'll add some, wait, where's the hearts?